welcome back to the channel. So today I got the DK Production Group MP43/1. Now this is a reproduction of the Sturmgewehr family of weapons. This one being the successor to the MKB42H, which the H stands for Haenel. And pretty much the War Department wanted a intermediate cartridge for the German Army in 1938, and by 1942 they had come up with the MKB42. There were two versions, the one made by Haenel and the one made by Walther. The Walther one was just a stamped steel nightmare and they didn't use it. So they went with the MKB42H. They started troop trials, first at the infantry schools, and then they went to Russia for combat trials, and Hitler said no. It's very surprising. He thought that the German army was going to have self-loading rifles, submachine guns, and snipers. He was the greatest warlord to ever live. And so DK Productions came out with this rifle. Basically, this rifle, you're probably asking, what's the difference between this and the StG44, MP44? Now, this one has a couple differences, very minute. Now, we'll start from buttstock moving forward. You have a larger buttstock. They ended up going with a smaller one, so it matches the same height as the K98s. They also had this rear sight tower that had a rail on it for a ZF4 or ZF41, excuse me, style optic, which they quickly did away with because it didn't have good accuracy. Now they kept the same profile of barrel, being a straight profile, and they kept the same muzzle protector. Now, when the MKB42s went to combat trials, they were immediately told, like, hey, the open bolt design is awful, we want something closed, so on and so forth. So while they were still producing MKB42Hs, they were already making these in pretty much the same factory. So they started getting delivered in Russia at the same time, and the combat trials went great. They loved it. Pretty much the story goes is Hitler said like 2 or 3 times, like, no, we're not doing that, knock it off. And then they finally were like, well, we already have the tooling, so can we at least finish up production? And he's like, yeah, sure, but after that, we're done. And he had a couple generals come to him for, I think it was the Knight's Cross, and to get, in addition, the oak leaves to the Knight's Cross. And he's like, what do you guys want for your troops? And he's like, we want more of those machine carbines. And he's like, what? So allegedly that's how it goes, but they say Heinrich Himmler, because he wanted these for the SS, he kind of put a word in his ear, Hitler's ear, about it. So it's kind of how the rifle came about. Runs off of the tilting bolt system, just like the original. We'll drop the mag so it seems easier. This drops out a lot easier than the originals. So it has your tilting bolt where it tilts down to lock in its battery, and then once it recoils, it starts pulling it back up and back, and it ejects the cartridge. All right, so this rifle itself, so it was made by, actually it's easier to prop up like this. So DK Production Group, they are a satellite company for SSD in Germany, which stands for Sport System Dietrich. They've been producing World War II replica firearms for the civilian market for about 20 years, and they've really been trying to get into the US to start building these rifles for the market that people want these at. They make a host of weapons. DK Productions makes the MP44 and MP38, all in semi-auto, of course, and then they did a small run of these, the MP43/1s. Everything is just the way it should be. Stamped steel receiver, stamped steel handguard, stamped steel lower, stock ferrule. You have a forged gas plug, gas block. Pretty sure even the front sight post is forged, but I don't know. Everything's the way it should be. Everything's very tight, nice. Now, all the markings are great. Everything's the way it should be. It's more of a 2024, 2025 production versus a replica. So take it apart, just like the originals. You got this push pin right here, where you'll, similar to the G3, pretty much the same thing. Now normally on originals, the stock would come out, but because everything's so tight and crisp, you gotta kind of give it a little love. Or a lot of love. So you have your buttstock, recoil spring, assembly. Hinges down, kind of looks like, kind of reminds you of an AR-15 style of fire control group. Then the piston and bolt come out like this. And then here's your assembly. You can take off the gas plug if you want to, but to clean the gas tube, but I wouldn't, unless you really need to. But very nice replica reproduction. Now it's easier to do it upright, so you don't have to fight gravity, where should just drop in. Now you hinge this shut. It's actually easier if we lay it down, put the recoil spring back in the stock. Now we will just try to manhandle this back in. All right, see, very tight. Put the pin back in. And that's it. Now that we have it back together, it's a very nice rifle. Now the manual of arms on this bad boy, you have your safety, your select fire, which is set permanently in the single fire position, and then you have your charging handle. So now it is empty. So pretty much to operate, you load the magazine, which is a double stack magazine. Pretty self-explanatory. Now it's on fire. Now I did do a trigger pull test with this bad boy, and it is 2 pounds and 10 ounces, so a little bit over 2.5 pounds, which is kind of ridiculous for this rifle. It's kind of 2-stage. You get the kind of crease back and you get the wall, and then the break. It's very impressive rifle, fantastic, huge. I think it's about 10.5, 11 pounds, so it's not the daintiest rifle in the world, but it's very nice. So next I will show you some shooting videos from yesterday. I shot roughly 50 rounds. I had some post-war East German ammo, about 30 rounds of that, and then I had some Hornady custom that Hornady made some of 8mm Kurtz, 7.92 by 33, and I had no malfunctions. I've shot original StG44s, re-welds in semi-auto only, and yeah, this is just a very impressive rifle. It's accurate, had no problem getting decent groups at 100 yards. If you guys want one of these, go on the Googles and check out DK Production Group. There's probably a waiting list and you'll have to wait, but it's worth it, especially if you like weird World War II guns like Sturmgewehrs. Well, I appreciate you guys watching all the way through, and look up for more content, flamethrower stuff, firearm stuff, I don't know. Kind of just winging it at this point. But yeah, do that, like, subscribe, whatever.